So here she is, Ariadne, the very first limited support character Black Beacon has released since its inception. And we knew she would be powerful. We knew she would be a must-pull. But what we didn't know was how versatile she would be, or just how much they would pack into her kit. I'm Shrike. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Black Beacon content. Let's dive in. Ariadne is a light element support unit, and right off the bat I'll tell you that there are many ways to build her, based on what kind of damage you actually want to buff with her. Yeah, that's right, she's customizable. So this build I'll showcase here is far from the only one you can use, and I'll briefly mention others, but for the purposes of this video and because I'm using her with Phenomena, I will explain only that one in depth. Her recommended marks are her signature one, which is the best in slot for her. You just have to remember that the damage buff only procs on the next combo burst following a triggering of glare. Then we can add the generic ones like Shining Star, and to help build up that glare faster we can run Golden Branch. But that final slot is where it can differ. You'll want to run the mark that corresponds to the damage of the main DPS you're running. I'll put Dole's infographic on the screen so you can get a better idea of who wants what mark, because frankly it's all beyond me. Suffice it to say, with Phenomena you want Tiger's Might, so that's why I'm running that. The main stats she wants are light damage and HP. You want to stack those two. And the third should ideally be Elemental Anomaly Mastery if you can manage it. Set up like so. So let's move on to her kit. Basic attack is boring, nothing special. Skill 1 creates a glowing L shape and then smashes it together onto the enemy. Skill 2 creates a glowing box that does the same. Now these skills have the effect of actually gathering enemies when the glowies smash on them, so that's useful right there. But the rest of what they do is handled by her passive, which says that when a skill 1 glowy smashes, the elemental damage of your team is increased based on Ariadne's light damage stat. That's why we want light damage on her. Skill 1, elemental damage buff. Remember that. And it says when skill 2 glowy smashes, it increases all the physical types of damage, like derived, chase, plus anomaly damage, proportional to her own version of that stat. Which is why when you're using a DPS with chase damage, you want to give her the mark that increases chase damage, and so on for each type. Skill 2, all other damages. Big box, most kinds of damage. Remember that. Ultimate is a big boom. And the combo, interestingly enough, says that during the combo burst, her skill 1 no longer makes an L shape, but instead an X shape. I don't know the significance of that. Maybe just giving the gathering ability a wider reach? But now let's look to her talents, the most notable of which are 1 and 4. 1 is a huge slow for any enemy caught in the glowy smash, and 4 actually adds a small heal onto every single instance of glowy smash. The amount of that heal is proportional to her max HP. Another reason to stack it onto her. Yeah, the woman even heals. And they could have locked that behind dupes or behind her signature weapon. So let's just take a minute to appreciate that. Her notable potentials are 1 and 6. A few of these are great, but they're self-damage buffs, and she's not really a damage dealer. But number 1 is a team-wide buff triggered when you enter combo state, and gets even better if you have one of each role in your team: main DPS, sub DPS, and support. Number 6 gives the glowy smash another smash. Considering all the things that trigger when a glowy smashes, like her heal, to have all those trigger twice with each use of that skill instead of once, that seems powerful. And then her weapon. I told everybody to save their Vulcans for her weapon, so this shouldn't even be a question. Yes, use her signature weapon that you got for free. It gives all enemies that are glowy smashed 17% reduced damage resistance for a whopping 20 seconds. Again, more if you have 3 roles in your team. So yeah, damage resistance reduction is huge. Buffs, heals, and now debuffs? And remember, if you've got her P6, that damage resistance reduction is proccing twice. I obviously can't test it, but how it reads to me is that you'd be getting a 34% defense shred every time you smash a glowy. But I could be wrong about that. Her skill priority will go to the passive because it governs literally all of the buffs that she applies, no matter which one you use. It all comes from the passive. Next is actually the combo, since she kind of synergizes a lot with combos. You'll be building it up quickly with her and using it often, to great benefit. Then it's whatever your flavor of buff. Skill 1 for elemental damage, skill 2 for everything else, followed by your ultimate. Then I guess basic, but you really never touch that. Now onto the combat section. Bear in mind, I'm using Phenomena in Gicia. I've got my 3 rolls, so my weapon will provide the extra defense shred, and the idea is to create and then smash your glowy of choice. It will require 2 uses of the corresponding skill. Skill 1 once will only create it, and you'll need to hit it again to smash it, gather the enemies, trigger all those goodies in her kit, and win the day. Same with skill 2, it's just a bigger shape, same use, different result. I've been using skill 2 with her to buff Phenomena's non-elemental damage, but I want to try her with Yuli and use the skill 1 route. I think that could be really cool. But basically it's very simple, you'll swap her in, and S1 S1 or S2 S2, and that's it. Feel free to swap her out right after, and if I may suggest, if you have other buffs or off-field damage, do Ariadne's first, since unless I'm mistaken, they all have a shorter uptime than hers, between 9 seconds and I think 15. Ariadne's being the longest means you can squeeze another unit out and still have time to get back to your DPS and still make use of all those buffs from her. As for teams, there's really no limit. You ideally want one of each role, and Gicia is our best option for Breaker, but Viola would work just fine, and main damage dealer, you can use anyone you want. Florence, Ching, Yuli, just pick your favorites. Dress Ari for the occasion, and go nuke the battlefield with your new toy. And with that being said, I'm gonna fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.